really hard. But I have made spring rolls like with the rice paper.
Oh,
And you
Oh,
like,
nice.
you
Did
know,
you
really?
fry them afterwards,
you
or did you
no, we
like leave
didn't
them?
we didn't fry them, but you have to like,
Mm,
it comes in these like discs or whatever, like this big, and it's hot,
mm.
like solid. But then you have to like dip it in warm water, and then you add your stuff and roll it up. Pretty. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but not hit the camera.
This just became
Yeah, because that's
X-rated.
rated R.
I know. Please
Thank you.
excuse me. And also, this is happening. Um, but we did it like we'd never. It was me and my mom making them. But obviously, we had never made it before. We didn't realize that you're just supposed to do like a light, sort of like a quick like dip through. And so we sort of
Yeah.
like set them in there and let them like soften up,
Like the
and then
whole thing.
well, like
Like,
one sheet, not
okay,
like the
okay.
entire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. But we set like one in there and let it get completely soft, and then did it. But it just like gets really gummy and tears apart so
Yep.
easily. But you're just supposed to do
Yep.
like a quick swipe through, so it
Mm-hmm.
like gets the moisture, and then it sort of soaks
Yep.
in slowly, and then it like is much easier to
Yeah.
work with. But we were like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. It's like ripping everywhere, and it's so sticky.
Yeah.
But it was still
Like
fun, and they were still good.
it,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
if you're not used to shopping at an Asian market and cooking Asian food, that can really mess you up because you'll
Oh
get
yeah.
like fresh noodles. And most Americans are used to like, oh, let me put the noodles in the boiling water for 10 minutes. Whereas
Right.
with a lot of like
Yeah.
Asian noodles, it'll be like
It's like,
run it through hot water for all of 15 seconds and
yeah,
then it's cooked.
it'll be
But people
ready,
are
and you're
just
like,
not used to
how?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also
Hmm.
true. Even though I like, even though I know you cook the noodles like for way less time, and I do.
Hmm.
It's not like I'm letting them sit in there for 10 minutes. I still somehow have just not gotten it right because they still just don't end up how they should be. Then I go to like a restaurant and you're like, I want to do that. Why can't I do that? I don't understand.
Hopefully the onigiri will come
I
out better
I hope so.
than, yeah, because I've made sushi before, like when I was young with my parents. Like we would get the ingredients, and like we eventually got pretty good at it, but there were a few of the first batches that were like close to inedible. Just so much rice wine
Like,
vinegar.
that's like just it's so overpowering if it's too much.
hmm
Oh my gosh, that's funny. I've never tried making sushi before, but I have wanted to. I know they have those like sushi making kits where they sort of like you can put them in the like you put the rice in the little thing and you can like it helps you like roll it up and then
hmm
slice it and what
It's
yeah.
like a joint roller for sushi.
Actually kind of, yeah.
Yeah, like the
Kind of,
little
yeah.
bamboo wood roller.
Yeah, yeah.
I I have an urge for the next role playing game. I want to cook again because I get like an endorphin rush when people are like, "Your food was so good," and I'm like, "Yes, yes."
More. Yeah.
I
I
love
already
being
want to cook.
fed, so this is
Do
great.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't I don't dislike cooking, and I mean I think I would say I enjoy it, but probably not like a ton.
Mm,
We just don't cook very often because we're just like way too tired to cook really mostly.
mhm.
So, um, but I haven't really ever cooked like for other people, or I have, but it's not been very often.
Yeah.
So I just get like really nervous, and I'm just like, even though people are saying it's good, I'm always just like, yeah, but it's like not to say that it's terrible, but I mean it's like it's not that good. So I usually just avoid cooking for other people.
Really?
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's
I
it's
totally
so
understand the
in
anxiety.
Yeah.
Like,
I I've never I think Sunday was the first time I had like a dinner party. So I had never done anything like that before. Like
Yeah.
invited people over, had an event planned. I had like, different aspects of the meal planned. So I was
Hmm.
really excited because I was like, this is the first time I'm gonna make them
Yeah.
salad, and then we're gonna make garlic bread, and then we're gonna make pasta, and then I'm gonna have red wine to go with all the food, and like I was just so excited to do it because it's like I've never got to do it before. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I love that
I
you were
really like
excited
cook
about it.
together
Oh
events
my
because it
gosh.
kind of puts the pressure on everyone. Kitty.
So cute.
I have a
She's a little
friend, she's
camera shy.
delightful. Her name's Ruthie. We work together at Starbucks. She's actually writing a book. If she publishes, I want us to read it.
Oh,
Um,
we're
yes.
definitely reading it.
Absolutely.
she always feels weird when people like cook and stuff like that, and she's not a part of it. So when she comes over, we'll make food together, which is really cool. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah, she
Yeah.
will like help us cook breakfast for dinner or whatever we're having that evening.
Breakfast for dinner is fantastic. Mostly because one, it is awesome just by itself, but also I don't ever really eat breakfasts. Then I don't really eat breakfast foods
Yeah, because you don't
type
get to eat
foods
breakfast.
all that much. So
Mm,
it's like an extra treat.
yeah.
Which at our wedding we had breakfast. That's what we served for
That's
Did you
awesome.
really?
yeah. Like we had
Hmm.
an evening wedding and we had breakfast for everybody.
That's so interesting.
That's
But
great.
we
I
had like
love that. I
different
would love that. Like
it
if any
was
wedding I had gone to had breakfast, it would have been
it was
better.
so amazing. Even like to this day, so many people were like, your food at your wedding was like the best I've ever had at any wedding. And it was awesome because it was breakfast. But we had like different types of breakfast. We had like breakfast taco, like a breakfast taco station. We had like your classic eggs, bacon, pancakes, waffles kind of thing. I don't remember what all else there was, but like just various types of things that I think we probably had maybe like I don't know pastry type stuff too.
Yeah.
But it was a variety of breakfast type foods. It was great.
That's awesome.
It was
That's
very fun.
very unique. I like that.
Yeah. Part of it also was like
I'd steal that, Christy.
we
I'll let you know.
please steal it.
I will give
Please.
you
Mhm.
credit.
Whenever anybody's like, I loved that idea, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, please do it. Like, why would I? That's so would be so dumb of me to be like, you can't steal my wedding idea. It was my
It's
idea. No.
mine.
No, actually a lot of our ideas came from other people too anyway. So um
Mm,
but that one did not. I remember that when we were like trying to look at food, the venue that we had our wedding at, you could only select from like probably 5 different food
Like a
vendors.
list of their vendors. Yeah.
Right, that they like support. So
mhm.
first off, it was already kind of limited. Not that they had bad options, but one of them was like a breakfast type place. Um, and we're like, well, one, I don't like. We definitely didn't want our wedding to be like stuffy in any way. Um,
Mm,
and some of the dinners that you can serve could be like the like really nice like 3-course or 4-course meals where it's like that's just too. We're not even those kind of people anyway.
mhm, mhm.
While it is fun to do that, but yeah. Um, so then we like saw the breakfast place. We're like, oh, let's do that. And we're like reading over the menu and like, oh my gosh, that sounds so good. But then also it just happened to also be the cheapest option too. So we're like, okay, that works out.
Weddings are so expensive. It's
They
crazy.
are. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy.
Hey,
I don't
Kelly.
even I don't even know
That's
what
why
they
Justin
cost
and I
now.
won't have a wedding. We basically like if we did anything, we'd have a reception.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No. I mean, I get it. Like honestly, I just feel like just do what you want to do,
Yeah.
and who cares what other like well that's not I can remember a lot of a lot of things my mom was just like, well, but that's not really what you do, or you don't do it like that. And I'm like, it's my wedding though. Why does it matter?
Yeah. I
Thanks
Yeah.
for
mean,
your input.
Like I'm not less married because I decided she didn't have a problem with the food, but because I decided I wanted breakfast to be served rather than some boring chicken meal. I don't know.
huh.
Yeah.
What did she not like? Were you like, I want a
Yeah, I
black
need to know
wedding
that too.
dress? Yeah, now
Thanks,
I'm
Jared.
No,
curious.
I honestly like I don't know if I really remember. Oh, I think this is the only thing I can really think of. But uh in the end it evened out.
Mhm.
But when we were first planning, I had one bridesmaid more than Bo had groomsmen. So like technically, if you're like doing the pairs down the aisle, there'd
Yeah,
be one
yeah.
person without like a partner. And it was like, well, but that's weird. They like aren't gonna have anybody to walk. I'm like, I don't care. Like, who cares? It happens all the time. They don't like
It's
Val
just make her
Mace.
the flower
Like,
girl.
who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares?
We ended up like having an even number anyway, but or like the same on each side anyway. Not because I was trying to make my mom happy. It just happened that way. But
I
I was just
thought
like, it's no, like I mean, like little things. Not like I love my
mm,
mom, but little things like
we
that. Where it's like the wedding is still going to happen,
yeah,
like a
yeah.
normal wedding. Like you know what I mean? It's not gonna be like you can't have 6 bridesmaids and he has 5 groomsmen. Like it just can't
Mhm.
go on. Like
Mhm. So, I thought you were gonna say something way crazier because I
yeah.
remember distinctly for our wedding, Kelly was super, super into racing, and she told everyone, she was like, I want to have it at a racetrack, like a raceway, and I want us to be in like the middle, and then drift cars will like make circles around us, like while the
Oh my god,
ceremony's
that's
going. And
amazing.
her whole family immediately like ended that idea. They were like, that's the worst idea ever. You cannot have like your special day at a raceway. That is horrible. That's the craziest thing ever. Let me
I
That's when I stopped caring about the wedding.
I just
It was like, I don't care about weddings at that point, then. Y'all can do
yeah.
whatever you want. So
Yeah.
really, our moms just got married.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, I get it. Like that is a extremely non-traditional idea, but also like you can still have a wedding with race cars going in circles around you. Like
exactly.
you can still get married that way. I can get married jumping off of a like a bungee cord off a bridge or something. I don't know. Like if somebody is saying the
Oh,
vow, not that I
okay.
like I'm not
Just like
adventurous like that.
the priest on the bridge, just like orating into the air.
Yeah, just like yeah. Like I mean, I don't know. Like
Sure, somebody's done it.
all it is saying some vows and saying I do, and then like
Mm.
I mean that's
What if like right when you both say I do, like you both jump off the bridge simultaneously? How cool would that
that would be
be?
amazing. Yeah, right? Like
How come I didn't think about
people have had
this?
crazier weddings. So
Mm. Hmm. All right, so on to Magician's Nephew.
Anywho, Magician's Nephew
hey,
by one C.S.
Oh,
Lewis.
great
I
segue.
finally
But,
got it.
I love your cover.
This is the same one I read when I was a kid. It wasn't the one I ordered,
Oh,
but it is the same
it's
like
blurring it
cover
out.
art.
Oh, okay, it's got like the silver app. My gosh, it keeps blurring it
wonder why
out.
it's blurring it out. You'll have to
It's got
unblur
like
the
Immersion.
background.
oh look, there's Queen Jadis
Mm.
creeping in the background.
So what's happening? What's happening on the cover for both of those? Thomas, for yours, is that Digory like looking up at a tree?
Yeah, it's Digory looking up at a tree, and it has like blue silver fruit on it. Um,
Hmm.
Yeah, I've got
so
a
I
silver
don't,
apple on mine as like the
and
main like focus with a hand like
Oh,
grabbing.
okay.
That's an
and it's
apple.
been so
Yeah.
long since I've read it that like I don't remember if this is like actually something that happens.
Mm.
Because right now where I am, Narnia is happening.
Hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and those interactions are just starting like during that process. Uh,
Yeah,
are y'all both past that point?
I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Narnia has been formed basically, and now Digory has been sent on a quest.
Mm.
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
He's
I'm
on
awesome.
his way.
Aslan has sung Narnia into existence and
Yeah.
bestowed uh, like consciousness and intelligence upon like specific
Animals.
animals,
Yeah.
and the animals are noticing Uncle Andrew and about to go accost him. So
Mm-hmm.
I always
Like,
love that
oh.
description is just so funny to me. They just they're like, oh, let's all go see this guy over here, and then he's freaking out because
Freaking out.
he can't understand them. So great. I love it.
I love how C.S. Lewis, like, a lot of the time will tell the story as if like he doesn't want to tell you this part, but he has to.
Yeah.
He'll be like, and unfortunately now we have to talk about adults. And
Yeah.
like adults will lie to themselves and make themselves believe things happen differently as opposed to how they actually happen. And this was the case with Uncle Andrew, unfortunately. And I'll tell you about it.
He's a boring old
it's
adult.
so
Now back to the
endearing,
interesting
like,
children. Yeah.
the tone of the
I
book,
love it.
like, is very like grandpa telling you a story. And
Yeah.
I really, really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Mm.
It is. Yeah, that's a good description. Like, sort of grandpa vibes, telling a story.
So I guess all three of us are practically almost finished it then, right?
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
got
I
about
think
60 pages, I think.
Yeah, I've only got like a chapter and a half or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Is there a continuation from this? Does this like go into the next book in the series?
so technically, if you're we're basically, since we started with the Magician's Nephew, we have started the series in order of timeline.
Mm.
But this was like one of the last books that was actually published.
Huh.
So the next book in the timeline is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Is Digory in that book?
No, Digory. This is the only book that Digory and Polly are in.
Yeah.
Oh.
They may be in the last battle, but I doubt it.
Huh.
Actually, I highly doubt it.
Okay.
I believe this is the only one that they're in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm
they're
so
relatives of the family
I
that
am
goes to Narnia, like, but distantly. I could be wrong about
pretty.
that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Not
Oh.
necessarily like their grandparents or anything, but like sort of distant
Like
relatives.
up
Like,
and over on the family tree.
yeah,
Hmm.
something like that. Yeah. That's true.
Interesting. I liked when, well, just the idea of the witch kind of like seeing all these other worlds, and her immediate thought is like, I can't wait to conquer them and make everyone
Yeah.
my slave.
Yeah.
And she ends up in, in on our earth. And I was just like, I was blown away by that concept. I did not expect her to, start going into these alternate worlds and then end up in our world, and then she's like
Yeah.
attacking the policeman. All of
But
that
like
was,
her
yeah.
powers are totally gone in our world though, because we don't
Hmm.
really have a truly magical world like hers or like Narnia,
Mm.
So yeah, I always thought that was interesting too.
She's still like an 8.5 foot tall,
Right.
strong as iron
Yeah, she's
being.
still this formidable being and probably has
Yeah.
at least some persuasiveness about her and command, but like as far as true magic, she can't do any of that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, going into it blind, I liked not knowing basically anything about the series or what was going to happen,
Yeah.
because that sequence of events is so cool. You're like, oh, it's just like a cool little fantasy story, and then she like
Yeah.
ends up on Earth, and then like, you got the cabbie and then the horse, and then the horse becomes like sentient and it can talk.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you always beating me? What's up with that? And I'm like,
This world is
this story,
horrible. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
first talk with Strawberry was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I always love that
yeah,
name for a horse too. Strawberry. It's a good name.
I
absolutely.
forgot how just absolutely terrible like Jadis is. And
Yeah. I
Mhm.
Jadis.
remember being terrified by her when I first read it. I wouldn't say that I probably have that feeling now. More just like she's terrible.
Yeah.
The horror of the situation didn't get me when I was a kid, but now that I'm adult, and perhaps because we are a more or less horror, like suspense mystery, like
Yeah.
group of readers, thinking about like Jadis and like her power in the real world when she started hitting people with the iron lamppost. I mean, the seed of the lamppost in Narnia.
Yeah.
I was like, dang,
Wait, what?
like this is terrifying. Like she could murder these people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It's
not
like
good.
one of the closest times. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say one of the closest times that C.S. Lewis gets to like just straight murder happening in the
Violence, yeah, like
story,
that.
but that's not totally true. But yeah. Um, that's true though, because there isn't a lot of outright descriptive violence in these books, even though there are plenty of situations where the characters find themselves in situations that are bad, so you still get that feeling, but he writes it in such a way where it's not like all of this crazy unnecessary violence that's just like vulgar, and
Yeah.
he still gets it across in a very good way.
Yeah, the way that Jadis just has complete disregard for children, and I
Yeah.
think she grabs one of them by the hair, and they're like, "Unhand
Yeah.
me, let me go," and she's like,
yeah.
"Whatever, you little urchin," and you feel like as the reader, you're like repulsed by her just complete disregard for like little children. You're like, this
Yeah.
person's just so evil.
Yeah.
Mm.
And her disregard of Polly during their first interaction. Just everything she does is just
completely
bad.
ignoring him, almost like she's like, I sort of read that. I don't know if I ever really thought about it as a kid when I was reading it, but now, like this time around, I'm reading it and I'm thinking she must be thinking like, all men are weak, so I'm gonna go after the he's not a man, he's a boy, but still same idea basically. I'm gonna go after him because he's gonna be weaker anyway, and easier to manipulate as this powerful, apparently just beautiful woman, and apparently in Digory's opinion the most beautiful woman he's ever seen still in his life. So that's kind of the impression that I got, so that she was just like, I'll just ignore the girl because I'm gonna have way more success with the boy and
you know what? She
the
says
man.
that she can read the hearts of men. Like she
Oh, that's
specifically
true
says that like
too.
3 times. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why she's talking to Digory,
And
just
she
because
didn't
like
say
her magic made it easier for her to manipulate him.
right. And she didn't say like the hearts of man, as in like all-encompassing people. Like she said men. The way she said it made me think specifically men, not women. So it's kind of interesting.
Just overall a really interesting villain, because I can't think of the idea of like this all powerful, super tall, super beautiful witch as the villain is a very unique concept. I can't really relate that to any other story. Usually it's like an old disgusting hag
Who's like hunched and like
yeah, or
fort
something
on
that
her
has
face.
another form.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Because Maleficent's beautiful, but she goes all dragon.
She goes full dragon.
She goes full dragon. Jadis would be scary going full dragon. Yeah, she's so terrible though.
She is scary, even though I didn't feel that same sort of fear. She's scary.
I love every time she steps away from Uncle Andrew, he starts to like try to reassert his like shitty aristocracy male of Britain. Like
yeah. Or like,
above all problems of other people. Like maybe she could be mine. Like
yeah,
it's just like, man,
they're
you're
like
such a sad person.
that woman, she's crazy or
She's a
whatever.
damn fine gal.
Yeah, Gel. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. Funny.
He's such a weighty. Every
He's
time
a
Uncle Andrew's on the page, like I'm excited because like I want to see him
yeah,
like get his, but
squirm
at the same time I'm like,
more.
but you have to be here.
Yeah. But he's so squirrely and uh, yeah, but he is funny to read about at the same time.
Yeah.
Like his delusion of the song that brought Narnia together, like that paragraph where C.S. Lewis is like, this is the thing adults do. They lie to themselves. So this is what just happened with Uncle Andrew. So
Yeah.
let's paint the picture from his perspective right now. It's so funny. You could tell that like the author was disappointed in it too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can just see kids reading that and being like, yeah, adults are boring, like agreeing with what he's saying.
I wonder when it was first released if it was popular with adults as well as children. I wonder what the
I don't
reception
know.
was.
That's a great question.
That's a good question.
I
It's
have a
been
bad question.
It's been so timeless.
What's
I
your
would like
what's your
to
bad
to hear
question?
this bad
Tell us
question.
your bad question.
Who's the
Does
best
Uncle
god
Andrew
in
die?
any
I hope he
religion?
does.
Or who's
What?
your favorite god in any religion, and why is it not Aslan?
Oh.
That's a great question. I love it. I've always he's always been one of my faves. He's so heartwarming.
Aslan's so good. When
He
she
is.
throws that iron bar at him, and he doesn't even
He's like
he
bunk,
doesn't
and he's
even
just like
bat an
whatever.
eye. In fact, he's never
Yeah.
blinked. Like it just
Yeah.
He just
he's
keeps
just
coming.
like lion
Yeah.
song.
I like that part, yeah.
And Jadis is like, oh shit, and then runs
Gonna
away.
run away now.
Just huge lady. Like makes me think of Claudia.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But Claudia was better.
Yeah.
I'm psyched because you know how someone will get really excited about a series and then they'll recommend it to you and then you start to read it and you're like, I'm not connecting with this at all.
Yeah. I don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I noticed like for the most part when you guys recommend something, I'm like, well, if they recommend it, let me give it a shot. But
Yeah.
like consistently when you guys recommend something to me, like it's always good.
Yeah.
Going in blind to this, like having no idea what was going to happen, and then you're just
Yeah.
like, whoa, this book is crazy. This is not for kids like at all. Like this is wow. This is awesome. So
Yeah.
from that perspective, I'm excited because I'm like, I know if you guys recommend stuff in the future, like say Harry Potter, which I haven't read, now I'm
Love
like
it.
more excited because it's like, okay, so our tastes are similar.
Yeah, and if you
I forget that you haven't read Harry Potter. God.
yeah, I always
Yeah.
forget too. And if you if you have thoughts here and there that like, this isn't for children, you're definitely gonna think that about Harry Potter. Because
Oh,
it's I mean, at least in the beginning, it's fine, but it gets dark. It gets very
oh
dark,
no.
and there is violence, and there is blood, and there is like, just not racism in its true like definition, I guess. But I mean, I guess
Yeah,
you could say that.
yeah.
But like, those kinds of things that you're gonna like sort of deal with in real life, just without magic and wands and Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great though. So
Yeah, that's what people were saying, like it gets darker as you go on. I guess. Yeah. I was
to
about
me,
to
it's
make
not a
like
bad thing. I love it. Whereas some people were like, now it
I feel
gets
like
too
the
dark. I can't have
story
my kid read
matured
it.
with me as a kid, like as I was reading it, just because that was
That's
the like
also
period that I
too.
was growing up. So
Right. It's not like, at least as as we were growing up, it's not like, we're reading all of them when we're like 7 years old. It's like, I think the first one, when the first one, well, I should say, was available for purchase in the United States, I think it was like a year after it was in the UK, but I was probably like 6. So maybe a little older. I don't know. I can't remember. Was it like, I think it was like the late 90s when the first one came out, was published, right?
I think so.
Ooh.
Or something like that. Maybe 99?
Yeah.
98 or 99? So that would, it'd be like 6 or 7. Anyway, so I mean, and then they're released or they're published kind of year after year after that. Maybe a little bit here and there between some of the later ones, but so you do sort of, you were growing with it, and so it wasn't like a lot of it just got too dark or inappropriate for your age. But I do remember a lot of parents just like not liking the fact that it gets darker as it goes.
Yeah, the first book Philosopher's Stone.
Yes.
I remember the exact
British
sentence
the British
my mom
version,
said,
at least.
there's actually a school like this, and they've had more like requests for entrance, like for attendance than ever before. And little like 8, 9-year-old Thomas is like, what?
Can I go?
And I did have access to the internet, so I remember researching it and being like, man, like it's sad that she's serious, and it's even more sad that like it's not true.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm sorry, Thomas.
Sorry, Mom, if you watch my
No.
podcast.
Oh. The first one came out in 97. The last one came out in 2007. So I applaud her consistency. Looking at you, certain fantasy authors who start a series and then can't finish it.
Extremely inconsistent, yes.
So yeah, the
Yeah.
fact that she did, what was that? I guess 7 books in 10 years.
7 books in 10. So a little bit, slightly more than a year between. I think the later ones, because like the 5th one is the longest one. So I feel like probably between like 4 and 5 is more than a year, or like 5 and, I think as it went, they sort of got a little bit longer because the books got longer. And the story like was really, really progressing even more. But I want to say in the beginning, at least, it was like,
yeah,
a
very
year.
consistent.
Pretty consistent, yeah.
I appreciate that so much because number one, once you start to make money, there's always that urge to just kind of add all this filler and add all this fluff. Oh, we don't have time. And then so the fact that she avoided that and completed it like within a night, like a good period of time, that to me is awesome.
Yeah.
But I do, why did she not keep doing more books like in the same universe? Why didn't she keep going?
She did. She has. So she's got 2, or maybe it's just 1 play, like literally a stage play that was written. It's called The Lost Child, I think. It's in that universe. And then there's been so a lot of the textbooks that you will read about within Harry Potter are also actual books that you can buy. Like what is it called? Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is literally a textbook in Harry Potter, but then they also made it into a movie like franchise. But you can go buy a book called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. There's a ton of other stuff out there that's like within that world.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's more like anecdotal, like tangent books, less like full stories.
That's true.
Though the play is,
I think
like
the Lost Child one
story.
it's a full story, and it's like, I don't know, 10 years later or like a decade later. but it doesn't have any of the. It doesn't like Harry Potter's not in it, Hermione's not in it. None of the like at least the original main characters are in it. It follows a completely
Yeah.
different like main character.
Hmm.
And then you can also like in fact I have them. There's like 2 parts, but they were just like really, really pretty books too. But you can buy the like stage sort of play of it, and it like, reads like Shakespeare, not literally like Shakespeare, but you know what I mean. It reads like a play.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Those are
I'm excited actually
packed away somewhere.
because Ruthie brought over 2 books that she's recommended to me. She brought over Piranesi, which is by Susanna Clark.
Oh yeah.
Apparently it's like a fantasy, like fairy tale story. Not quite
Oh.
sure. I've read one of her other books, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, and it's like a alternative, like
Heard of
history
that.
of England fantasy book that's
Oh, really?
incredible and like dry in English and so amazing. But it's a book. It's like 1,000 pages. And she brought Howl's Moving Castle. So
Oh
I've
my
never read
gosh.
that. I've
I
heard that's
love
incredible.
that one. Also fantastic movie. Oh my gosh.
Oh
So
yeah,
good. It's one of
it's
my
like a
favorites.
yearly watch.
It's great.
Nice, nice.
Those are awesome books that she gave you or brought you. A good friend.
Very
Sounds-
excited.
But
But I am going to finish Magician's Nephew first, which will not be difficult. It's
yeah,
been such
Oh, wow.
a joy to
Yes.
read back through
it
this.
really has because it's so nostalgic for me at this point.
I forgot about the
Um,
pictures. I spent so much time
I
as a kid looking at these
know.
pictures. So each one's like an old friend when I get to it.
Yeah,
Like,
I forgot about all the pictures throughout them too. I love them. They make me a lot of times. They make me think of Stephen King because he's got, pictures here and there
Yeah.
throughout a lot of his books as well.
Is
books should
this
have occasional pictures.
Should.
is it taking both of you guys back to like your childhood? Can
Oh
you
yeah.
like remember like where you were when you read these books?
Mm, no. I mean, I was probably like in my bed at home or sitting on the couch at home
Yeah.
or on the beach or something. But
Yeah. Yeah.
specifically, no, especially because I've read these more than once through. But it does just bring back that like childhood feeling and that like excitement about the stories unfolding and
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, reading there's something about reading children's literature or literature that's like more aimed at children
Yeah.
that gives me like a almost like whimsical nostalgic feel because it does feel like it takes me back to like when I was 10 or 11 and reading.
Yeah.
Like I'll even like go back and read like a Goosebumps book and it's very
Those are great. And then they
it's
didn't
very
they have the
fun.
show too? Was there a
Yes,
show,
they
wasn't there?
absolutely
Yeah.
did have a
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
and it was amazing.
It was great. I also really loved well, I simultaneously was terrified but also really loved The Crypt Keeper, if you guys remember that show as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
From like
When The Crypt Keeper was on the TV, I was terrified and I didn't even want to look, much less like listen to him talk or laugh.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
like he would lead you into a little story, and those were always really interesting.
Oh,
He's creepy. I'll pull up a picture of him.
The Crypt Keeper was awesome.
It's so
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, at this point now, like obviously I'm not scared of it, but my parents would
And
turn it on and be like, "The Crypt Keeper is on," and I was like, "No!"
he would always make some like little pun, like little dad joke, or should I say a little dead joke?
Yes.
And and he'd be like, "Oh, looks like that's gonna cost you an arm and a leg."
And then he'd be
Something
like
that.
wild laughing. He's so
Yeah.
creepy.
Is that where my love of puppet humor came from?
Maybe.
Puppet humor.
I like love the Muppets, I
Yes.
love
Oh,
Dark
that's what it is.
Crystal. I love Team
Mhm.
America.
Yep.
Tales from
I'm
the
just
Crypt. Oh
a
yeah, Team America is
fan of puppets.
hilarious. Team America is so good.
Anything with puppets is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, then it's not great.
Oh, I loved Mr.
I don't know.
Rogers.
Gotta
Love it.
disagree. They were
I
puppets.
know.
Wait,
There
you
he
guys
is.
like the puppets? Oh.
Yeah, I would say probably only because it's just like my childhood. I was never
Oh.
I was never. I
Oh.
don't know. I don't remember disliking them. Did you look at it?
Oh, he's worse.
What are you
He's
looking
real-
at?
I sent the Crypt Keeper a picture of him in the chat.
Oh God.
He's so creepy.
He's more hideous than I remember.
He's very
He
ugly.
was the
Yes.
scariest thing about the
Yeah.
show.
It's
by
really
far.
like he was way scarier than the stories that they would have. Yeah. It's very creepy.
I don't remember why I hated the puppets from Mr. Rogers. Ugh, I still don't like them.
That way.
Let me pull them up.
Mr. Roger puppets. Maybe we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just need to like look
Oh
at it.
no, yeah, those puppets suck. You're right.
Okay, so
Puppets suck.
I agree. Well, specifically like I feel
All
like
of
they're
them?
all fine except for like the clown looking one.
Like
Or the
one.
jester clown looking
what
one.
is this one? This one is
That's the
that's-
worst one.
yeah, that's gonna scare a kid. And
But
I'm
the
pretty
rest
sure
of them, while strange, the rest of them seem fine to me.
Okay, let me
But like
see.
here's an older one. Here's an older picture. That's like an updated version. Here's an older one. It's so much worse.
Let me see. Oh God! Oh no!
It's like his cheeks and his nose have
Oh.
been burned. Like he's a bird. Yes. It's,
Oh
the haircut
God!
is the haircut is also
I found a
very
worse
bad.
angle.
Okay. Yeah. Mind you, this was
Okay.
when I was like 5 or whatever.
I
so it
agree
must-
though.
Yeah, it must have been this one.
Why is
Like,
this
where I was
not blocked?
like,
Can you make sure Juan blocks this tomorrow
Yeah,
so
like,
that
Juan,
we can't ever
please.
search Mr. Rogers puppets again?
Prevent us from looking up
Seriously.
these puppets.
Oh, some of these other ones though are like super cute.
The rest of them are fine and they're kind of
The
cute.
bird's cute, the sleepy bird.
Like the little there's like a
Yeah.
lion or something. And there's
Yeah.
like a king and a queen or something like that.
Daniel Tiger's
Yeah.
cute.
The rest of them are very cute.
Yeah, there's like a little owl, there's like a little king. These are all
Yeah.
Are they
very
all
cute.
named Daniel? Like Daniel Owl, Daniel King,
King Daniel. Daniel Lion.
Daniel Middle Class Boy.
Daniel Jester, whatever that I don't know what that one is supposed to be. Yeah, that's the one that's like way different from the rest. I don't know what happened to that one.
Yeah, I think that's what I remember.
That's fair. No, I can agree though. That's fair. It's valid. Your feelings
I
are
can
valid.
see why that would be the one you remembered.
Yeah. Definitely.
And okay, I found another set from the 70s that are wildly inappropriate, which I will now put in the chat. I don't remember these. I think this was probably banned from television. But apparently
Oh my
it's Mr.
gosh.
Rogers.
It's like a policeman, and I feel weird for saying this, but they look very, very British.
Oh,
Do
okay,
they not?
okay. I was going in a different direction with it, but yes, very British.
There's something else that I could say, but that was my first thought. There were other thoughts after that, but I'm not gonna say
Yeah,
it.
it's like what's going
But
on
they
with
do
this
look
guy?
like it looks like a British cop, you know, with like their like little tall hats that
Yeah,
they wear. Or
it
whatever.
does. It does. Very British.
Like I don't know, a train conductor or something. I don't
I
know.
can't stop looking at those teeth.
The teeth. Oh yeah. Okay. I wasn't even looking at those.
Yeah.
First.
I'm sorry, I ruined it for you.
Oh gosh. I would have noticed it eventually. It's fine. It's
Oh,
just funny
man.
though, because I mean it was definitely not a British show at all. And he's not British, but was not.
Interesting.
Great show though.
Oh, yeah.
I always
agree.
remember Miguel being like, I never liked Mr. Rogers. He was so creepy or something. I don't know. I didn't like him. Like, okay.
Miguel.
Oh, Miguel.
Sometimes I
think-
forget about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember.
Yeah. It's an interesting time.
He always texts me.
He does, which is
Yeah.
I love it. I love that.
How many children does he have?
Oh yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
curious.
sure.
And fiancés.
He was legitimately trying to get his job at Novatech back.
I do remember.
And-
Yeah, I do. I don't know if he ever talked with anybody.
Yeah. And he
About
said he talked to Will, and then Will was like, "We're
Oh,
not
okay.
hiring right now." So
Thanks,
like,
but no
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. I do remember it being like, well, because he left after like 6 months or something like that,
Mhm. Yeah.
which, you know, anybody can do that. That's obviously their right. They are not like a slave, you know, to working for a company. But it very much just felt like if we brought him back, then he would just like leave again in another like 5 or 6 months. It's like, you know what I mean?
I did bring that up to him via text because I
Yeah.
was like, "You left after a pretty short time. How do we know you're not going to leave again?" He was like, "You don't know that." And I was like,
And I
At
feel
least he
like
was honest.
at least he was, yeah. I
Terrible.
wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily get that feeling for anybody. You know, if you just find a better opportunity, find a better opportunity, pays more, it seems like a better job, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
awesome. Like, that's super awesome. But he was constant. Remember how he was sort of constantly like, "Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna have to like be leaving soon," or "Oh yeah, I've like
Mhm.
applied here and they're like gonna be paying this much more," or whatever. It was like, but for like
Yeah.
months long, it was like Miguel's
Yeah.
gonna leave any second. So it just felt like it was just this constant like, "Oh, I found this place, or I found this place, I found this place, I found this place," and then finally, you know, he did move on, and so it's like the sense that I got was like you're just trying to like hop around to like whoever's gonna like give you the best sort of
Yeah.
deal or whatever in the moment. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, get your money, you know. Hey.
It's a way to do it.
Yeah. But it's like,
I like the way how Christy phrased that. She's like, "That is your right. You are not a slave."
It's true though. We are not
was-
slaves.
I love how she said it. Oh,
Yeah, I
man.
mean, no, I like honestly zero hard feelings. I have no. He's just a funny character.
Oh, he is definitely a character. He's
Yeah.
definitely a character. So I think one of you guys was talking about It's Always Sunny, and I had never watched it before.
Oh my gosh.
But I was like, let me give it a try. And
There's
so I just
so
picked, like,
many seasons and episodes though.
there is.
So many.
Yeah.
You can kind of just start in the middle, but you can also just start
Yeah.
from the beginning, like wherever really.
There's a lot
picked
to
an
hate no matter where
episode-
you are.
That's true.
Yeah. That's the sense that I got.
Yeah.
And I picked this episode where they start a cult and they're trying to get like the cult members to do like increasingly crazy stuff until they're one of them is like, "I'm gonna have them all set themselves on fire." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
I feel like I've probably seen that one, but I can't. I know I've definitely not seen all the episodes. Bo's
Justin's a big
seen
fan of Always Sunny.
Bo's a huge
Yeah.
Bo and his brother Richie are huge fans. They've seen like basically every episode and
Oh,
and
wow.
a lot of the like the older ones like a million different times. It's funny because when I first started dating Bo, you know, he's been a huge fan of the show since it basically started and it's been on for like at least a decade. But I like very much did not like it at first.
Oh.
And I don't know quite what it was. I think part of it was like they live in such squalor. It almost just made me sad. Like it was almost depressing, even though the show itself is not like it's a comedy show. It's not actually a depressing show.
They're all
And
such
then, like,
truly sad people.
and they're
Dennis.
all such truly sad, terrible people, which like
Mhm.
that is the point. Just like that
Yeah.
is the point of Seinfeld, which is basically kind of their idea, but like let's make it like so much worse.
Yeah.
But it has in the last like year or so has really, really grown on me, and I think at this point I just like the show. And it's hilarious and very funny, and I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
If you hate people living in squalor, I feel bad about the state of my downstairs bathroom.
No, you don't live in squalor. No, I mean like, which by the way, like, I don't have anything against people. I just like it made me feel sad because I mean Charlie's literally like his apartment just looks like it's from a third world country. I mean, I no, you don't live in squalor.
Thomas, did you use the downstairs bathroom and then there's
I-
like a ladder?
I did. I wanted to engage with the ladder, but I didn't know in what way I should do that. I wished it was part of the process.
It's there.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
there to help. It's there to help.
In case you need it, if you need to
Mhm.
climb up high.
Prop your
Approach
legs up
things
and-
from weird angles.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that I think has been an hour. Conversation has gone from Magician's Nephew to pooping with ladders. So
Yeah.
that's
So we've
that's the
really
best place.
reached
Yeah.
the entire spectrum.
Spectrum of our
the whole spectrum.
Potential.
But
This is as
yeah,
good
did
as
you
it
guys-
gets.
This is really fun though. I kind of like this format of just like talk about books, but also whatever you want. So I like this.
We started
Yeah.
with Japanese food and making Japanese food, and
Yeah.
so
the
yeah.
podcast is for us.
It does appear that way. Oh, I totally would love to do like little YouTube episodes with the role playing games though, because I think maybe that could be popular. I feel like people would want to watch us role play. Maybe.
Let's do it.
So
Let's try it out.
That's
that would
awesome.
be cool. Yeah. All right. See you guys. Have fun.
Bye.
friends.
See ya.
Bye.
Stay reading.